Okay, we're gonna switch things up a little bit today, and gonna go over a few things that sold over the weekend. Had probably the biggest sales weekend, pretty much one day, that I sold an amazing amount. So that one's pretty cool. So I was super stoked about that. But anyway, we're gonna go over a couple of things that have sold. I already shipped, have it all packed up, some of the sales from Friday. So none of those, well, maybe a couple of those that I didn't get packed up are included in this, but the majority of the sales over the weekend was one sale to one person for a huge lot of items. But so I'm also going to go over a few things that I actually picked up at an estate sale yesterday. So it will be or a Friday. It'll be a little bit of a haul, estate sale haul video too. So anyway, so the first, I guess I'll start with the things I picked up at the estate sale, so the haul part. At least these are a few of the things that I was kind of excited about finding. One in particular, because I kind of never thought that I would find one in the wild, especially like after about 500 different antique dealers had gone through this part of the estate sale. I was like, wow, I cannot believe that that's actually still there. But anyway, so I'll probably, I'll just start with that so y'all can see what I'm talking about. So picked up quite a bit of like stuff that I like. So a vintage Garfield hat is from the 90s. A 90s, really heavily embroidered Mickey Mouse hat, also from the 90s. Very old, because this resort is no longer called, this was when the Port Orleans resort at Walt Disney World was called Dixie Landings, which that's actually what it was called when my family and I stayed there way back in the day. It still has the characters from the now closed, well, they switched it from the Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. But anyway, so this mug was a resort mug, and if y'all have been to Disney, the resort mugs were a lot bigger. You could get a lot more. Now they're kind of really skimpy, but anyway, resort mug. And then there's actually a set of 4 of these. These are Goebel. These are from 1959. Little nativity figures of the 3 wise men and then the shepherd. So these I paid, I'm gonna like $1 for all of them, because I paid $156 for everything that I got at this estate sale, and that includes 3 bathroom exhaust fans that were like new in the box that I could sell for about $30 to $40 a piece. One of them we're actually keeping because we actually needed one, so keeping that. And then they had a lot of Disney stuff, a lot of Garfield stuff. I collect vintage Disney myself, but so some of this is kind of hard to part with, but I did keep a few pieces. So a lot of that in that 156, not a lot, but a few things I actually am keeping for myself. But anyway, they had a lot of Disney mugs. In particular, I picked this one because it has a not so well-known, or at least they don't make a whole lot of merchandise. This is Clarabelle the cow, and oh my gosh, his name's Clarence or something. I mean, like, you never see this guy. But anyway, so they were made in Korea, vintage, probably 80s, I'm gonna guess. And then we've got, this one is from the 50s. It's made by Unesco. It's her value, probably about $13 for this one. Mickey Mouse, probably about 30 to 40. It's in really good shape. It's got like a watch. They also collected Swatch watches, which they had a lot of, but I know zilch about except for, you know, that I had one, but I don't know anything about reselling them, so I did not pick those up. The one thing that I was really excited to find was a fairy lamp, like hand painted Fenton fairy lamp. It is from 2008, so not even quite vintage, but it is hand signed by the artist. Yeah, this was like sitting on the kitchen counter with like a whole bunch of other like mugs and stuff. And the other resellers, two whom I know from standing in line were actually antique dealers. They just walked right past that. So I was like, okay. I looked at it and I was like, is that really a fairy lamp? And that can't be a fairy lamp because they would have picked that up already. But I go over and look at it, I was like, yeah, it really is a fairy lamp. And so I picked it up. It was marked at $3, so $3 in that. And the mugs, by the way, were $3 a piece too. So, and the cup I think was like $1. But generally when I do this, I will divide evenly. I will take whatever total is paid and divide that by how many items I list. And that's what I will go with. The value, which assigning, you know, higher end stuff a little bit more of the pie than, you know, stuff like the coffee mugs and like this stuff. Picked up a couple. I always pick up golden books whenever I see them. I put lots of them together. One of these, this one's actually a first edition from I think like 1950 something, 1953 or 6 or something. But anyway, and you can tell it's a first edition. You go to the back page, you're going to look at the bottom page and find a little A, and that's how you know it is a first edition little golden book. And that was only done up until like 1956, I think, and then after that they went with a little different way of doing it. But anyway, so then I found they had a whole, like I said, a whole crap ton of Garfield stuff, a whole bunch of the comic books, which I don't know if those are worth anything, but I do sell a lot of vintage coloring books, and there were a few of those in there. So there's like 3. They're barely used. I only have a couple pages that are drawn in, and I actually have a couple others from another estate sale that I will just bundle up with this and sell that way. Vintage Taz comic book. So also found in the Garfield box, unused vintage stationery. I'll probably sell it for like $8 or $9. I'm gonna lot this with the other golden books. Then a couple other books. I got quite a few books, but they were in a basement. I was unable to look them up, so I was just kind of picking, and you know, I was gonna put everything together in a bundle anyway, so only a couple of them ended up being worth anything. This is a very old copy of Cinderella, also no barcode on the back, another clue that it's pre-1974, which is when barcodes were invented. And then this is if you ever see Thornton Burgess, a lot of these books can be worth decent money. So this one, I don't know, I cannot remember, but it's worth something or I wouldn't have kept it. Over here, usually I only list books if they're worth over $10 or more. So that's all for what from the haul, well, at least the things I picked out, my favorite items from the estate sale. So this is part of the storage auction lot, which I haven't videoed much about yet, but I will soon after I get it all edited together. This one is called Engage, or this one is like Swedish Rose set. Sold 2 sets of 4, so like $90 for these, and I still have a few more of these left, plus a couple of bowls. One of the bigger sets that I got was a set called Engagement by Lenox. This is just a bread and butter plate from the set. Somebody purchased every piece that I had. So I was listing them, the plates by sets, different variety of sets. They bought every piece I had. So just for reference, this storage unit cost $166 with all the fees, the buyer's fee and all that. So $166 for this storage unit. those dishes alone, just one set of the, I think there are 6 or 7 different sets of dishes. One set is the Lennox, one of the Lennox Christmas sets that I have 2 versions of. There were literally over like 100 plates for this one set. I've sold one set already of the Christmas dishes, sold that for $180 for a set of 6 or 8 or something, I think is how I have them listed. And then maybe it was more, I think it was like 12, so, or maybe 10, I don't know. Anyway, so sold one set of those. I still have like 10 sets of that particular pattern. This set sold for, like, all the pieces she bought, $1,500. So I woke up this morning, I was like, 5 sales, and then I look at what it was and I was like, oh my goodness, what a good day. So anyway, so flipped $166 into over $2,000 so far, because of, I already sold a couple other pieces that were part of something called Arthur Court. It's an aluminum like dishes. Mostly these were all safari, like elephants and stuff. Already sold a couple pieces from that, so I'm over 2,000 from 166. So I was pretty excited about that. But anyway, so we'll come back and I'll share more about the storage unit. I'm going to go through some boxes with you. You'll see me going through some boxes and stuff. So if you're interested, you should stick around and check that out, because it'll be coming soon, as soon as I get it all edited together. So anyway, thanks for all you watching. I got to get busy packing some stuff, and we will catch you later.